solar has never really been good at being proactive, right? That word seems to have escaped this industry for a long time, proactive. But I think the more you can do, the more you stay in touch with the customer, and again, properly set their expectations, you're going to have a lot happier customers, a lot smoother process, and inevitably get PTO much quicker.
We are live once again, Sales Talk with Solar Pros. Today we have an awesome topic, a topic that we just decided that not many people talk about. This is something that it's incredibly important. It's what gets us paid, but a lot of the focus is always on the sales. So the topic is PTO is the goal. Closing is only step one. And we've got Kelly Wilson back on the pod, and we've got a special guest, Michael Daring. What's going on, brother? What's going on, guys?
It's a beautiful evening.
Let's go. And I was just saying to Michael that I don't have the view today because it's raining really heavily. So thought I'd switch it up.
I could use the rain, Carlos. Could use the rain.
Purple rain, it makes your hair purple.
But super cool to be back on the pod. I think this is it's definitely like a topic that we need to be talking about more. I think a lot of sales, there's a lot of sales training. There's a lot of information on sales, but once a sale goes through, what needs to happen to actually get it to PTO, not install, but PTO.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think enough people talk about this and or train their teams in this, because we always want to close deals, right? Salespeople, sales orgs, EPC, they need more deals, more volume. And then most teams rely on the IP or the EPC to do the rest of the legwork for them. Inevitably, with a lot of the larger big box orgs, they're going to charge you for project management as well. So now that amount of money is going to come out of your commission, right? And you're losing that constant communication with the customer to properly set their expectations, inevitably leading to, a faster PTO process. But the best thing about keeping constant communication, always being there for the customer, hurting them along the process, is referrals and building that book of business. Because ultimately, listen, going out, finding leads, getting company leads, it's great. But when you sell somebody and you properly escort them through the finish line, they are going to give you future business. And that's the biggest thing you can do, I believe, in this industry for longevity.
Dude, straight up, man. So look, we're going to have a lot of experienced guys on here watching this podcast. We're going to have a lot of new entrants into the solar industry as well. And they're going to be looking at the word PTO. In fact, my pal, who's helping us, be putting this together, she wrote up a description and she put PTO, and I think it was power to something. I was like, hey, where did you get that from? She's like, oh, I don't know. I just chat GPT that. So if Pal, who's in the industry, she's not a salesperson, but she's in the industry, doesn't know what PTO is, then there's probably a lot of people out there that are in sales, like selling solar. They don't know what PTO is either. Like, what's PTO? How do you explain it?
Well, what it stands for is permission to operate, and that is after everything, the system's got final inspection, everything is green to go. The utility gives the thumbs up, the green light. The county gives the thumbs up, the green light. And now the customer can actually turn their system on and communicate back and forth with the utility company. So their system is officially on. And at that point of PTO is also when a lot of IPs or originators will get fully funded from the lender as well, which is super important to know that.
They reserve the right to claw you back even after your system has been installed. If that system cannot be PTO'd, and the customers, most financiers will even let customers cancel up until PTO, despite systems already being installed. Yeah, you can get let out of a financing agreement after your system's been installed.
Holy moly. So the salesperson can be paid out. Obviously the installer's paid out. Everyone's paid out. And there's still
The financier can claw the whole thing back.
Wow.
Well,
I
in
actually
fact,
know somebody that got that happened to recently where they had a system that was installed, house caught on fire before the system got PTO'd. They got clawed back for the full amount, $25,000. It was not, it was like their whole organization got clawed back, like not just like the sales rep, but everything that was spent already, plus like whatever, like the whole install, now you're gonna end up fighting it out with insurance. But that's not the first. I mean, that's the first time I've heard of it with a house fire. But that's not the first time I've heard of. Like, people think that because glass on the roof they get paid. That's not the end of it.
And what's the average time frame to go from glass on the roof to PTO?
That's a very tough question to answer because it really varies depending on market, utility, so many factors. I mean, I've personally seen PTO happen in 2 weeks after it's been installed, upwards of, I'm sure a bunch of people who will see this will say, oh, I've had it take months and 6 months or never. I mean, the reality is why we're talking about this and why it's so important, because all the things and steps you do before that PTO is given will help move it along faster and faster and faster, right? But I think, Carlos, to answer your question, I think on average, it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks. Okay. We've got some comments coming through the live chat. So Sergio Prado says, greetings from Houston. Let's go, Sergio. Mitchell Anderson says, Michael is the godfather of solar sales. Let's go, man. Stephen Valente says, companies think they don't need NABCEP installers anymore. What does that mean?
Well, what does NABCEP mean, or what do you mean by they don't think they need it anymore?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, probably explain what NABCEP means for those who don't know, and then respond to Stephen's comment, which is that companies think they don't need the NABCEP installers anymore.
Well, I think first and foremost, what NABCEP is basically trying to set the standard for PV installers. There's certifications. I'm sure a lot of people have seen, if the IP says they are NABCEP certified. But again, they're trying to set the standard for what a solar installer or a credible solar installer should be and what they should know, right? It's multiple courses that you can take to be able to get the certification. I have never heard of anybody saying that they don't think they need them. It's not a requirement for anybody that I'm aware of as far as a lender goes or a utility goes. I'm sure there's some small ones out there that might have that. It does help to get like solar insured certified to have NABCEP. It can be a long process. It can cost a little bit of money, but inevitably they're trying to be the dominant space in the medium to certify that, okay, this installer has gone through this training program and they are certified solar PV installer. That's all it is.
Okay, so it's optional.
It is optional, absolutely. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen some really amazing installers that have never in their life decided to go do it because it doesn't get them anything in return other than having that certification on their website with their people. I think all too often, a lot of people might use it as a crutch to not properly train their own people. But that's a rare situation, I believe.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thanks for setting that straight. Kip says, what's up from San Antonio? Let's go, Kip. Love it, man. So yeah, let's get back on topic, PTO.
Yeah. So really, it all starts with obviously signing the contract, right? You're not going to get anywhere without signing the contract. But like, for example, all of our teams, we want to get interconnection signed at the time of sale, right? And for those that don't know interconnections, interconnections is that first process to get PTO with the utility company, right? Customer has to sign off that they're going to get a solar system installed. The installer will put everything about the system on that piece of paper after the customer, and then they send that to the utility company. And that's your first step And that should be done day of sale. If you're not doing that day of sale, then you're probably missed an opportunity. And you're opening the door for, again, more time down the road, right? Get that done day of sale, if at all possible. So I'm not sure if too many people are doing that or not nowadays, but I know we really press for that a lot and require it. Secondly, obviously, gotta have a power bill, right? Now, if you've been in solar longer than a minute, hopefully you realize you don't have a deal without a full power bill.
Or an
You know,
appointment.
I've seen people sell deals and then we can't get the power bill for weeks.
yeah.
I've been in
You
that
know.
position.
I think we've all been there, probably.
Yeah, but dude, he showed it to me. This is what I swear.
Yeah. You know, there are situations where, again, you know, we've
Got
been
a
around the
picture of
block.
graph.
Yeah, there's the graph. I've only been in the home for 2 months, or I get my bill in the mail, and every time I get it, I throw it away. So I got to wait for a billing cycle. Well, there's always ways to get a power bill, right? Even if they just moved in the home, you can go to the utility company and get a service agreement that's been, you know, signed. This customer has requested power. We have their name, here's their address. You know, they're going to have power set up for their home, and then you can do a load calculator and you can go that route. But there's always a way to get a power bill. You just have to want to do it, and you have to put the effort in to do it. That's always a headache with newer reps, even experienced reps. Again, like Kelly said, him and I both gone through that, right? Where you're doing everything you can, and this, you know, person who's just not familiar or does not have an online system, and they, you know, it's a co-op maybe, and they're closed on Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can't get a hold of them. But power bills are key, guys. You got to have power bills, man. You got to have all the pages, and the name obviously should match the person who you're sitting with. In most cases, that makes it much easier. That's always a big thing. Secondly, and this is something I, again, always try to push for, is getting a copy of the homeowner's insurance, or HOI, right? Declaration pages. Again, all these things help. Some utilities require customers to have a certain level of liability insurance on their homes, you know, so they want to see the declaration page of their HOI in order to prove all that. Again, if you don't have that, you can't get it day of sale. You got to get it in the next, I would say, 48 hours if possible, because again, you can submit for interconnection pretty quickly. And when you do that, then again, you're going to speed up your whole entire process. Thirdly, homeowners insurance or homeowners associations, right? Those are big things. A lot of homeowners associations will either have some kind of requirement you have to meet. We've seen them as extreme, and this is definitely an extreme. They wanted a third party person, non-biased, to also sign off on the production in the system from what we were trying to get the customer to move forward with.
And who is that third party generally?
Well, you have to find another licensed, reputable installer in that area is what you have to do. Who's willing to go ahead and
someone
do that
else's
for you.
project.
Damn,
Yeah.
and this is for the HOA. to approve it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, so in some areas, by the way, have rules and laws that state HOAs cannot block homeowners from going solar. But this is really important to know when you're setting up with an installer or an EPC. You need to be clear when you first get started who is responsible for getting that HOA approval, because there are some IPs out there that will assume that you're going to do it, and if you don't ask the question, the day comes when they go to install. Now all of a sudden your IP's calling you like, hey, you never got HOA approval, or very worst case scenario, you got glass or mounts on the roof, and now they're calling you saying, hey, you never got HOA approval, we're halting this project. So you want to be clear about that. If a customer does have an HOA, who's responsible for getting that permission to move forward?
That'll mess up
And
your
sometimes
project, too.
these
We've had to
HOAs just make it
uninstall
real
projects.
difficult.
Yeah, we've had to uninstall projects because the HOA either didn't approve or something along those lines. And then you have to like uninstall the project. It can't go on the south side. Actually, you need a larger system to go on the north side of the house because they can't be like, some of them have rules that the panels can't face the street. You know, if they have to go in the back of the house, right? Even if that's the north side of the house.
And how does a rep, like at what part of the checklist do you recommend that they check all of this to make sure that they're not, getting themselves into something that's never either, ever going to get approved, or, that's going to be found out later? Like, how can they safeguard themselves from making these mistakes?
That's a good question. If you're sitting with a customer, most HOAs will have a website, and sometimes they'll even have the information on the HOA. If you're going to an appointment and say it's your first time meeting the customer, and you're going to want to ask that question, and it's usually pretty obvious which developments and areas have HOAs, right? It's usually pretty obvious which one to do. So you want to inquire about that pretty early on, because obviously if the HOA says we don't allow solar, you may not want to waste your time unless you're willing to go to battle and fight the HOA, which we have also done that. And try to get it pushed through. In fact, what's that, Kelly?
I said you have to have a willing homeowner that wants to fight their HOA.
Yeah. And I've heard that as well. Like, some people saying it's illegal for a HOA to say no to having solar, and some say no, they are allowed to say that.
Depends on what
some
state
states it's in. Yeah.
So like New Jersey has laws, they have solar rights laws on the books in the state of New Jersey that says that HOAs cannot block you from going solar, right? So there's a lot of homeowners that don't know about that too, where we, maybe we're calling and we talk to somebody that, says, oh, my HOA doesn't allow solar because 5 years ago they didn't have any kind of rules like that. And a lot of the times the HOAs, like, they don't tell the homeowners, they just say, yeah, HOA rules say you can't get solar. They don't know about the laws on the books, but the actual law in the state of New Jersey says that HOAs can't block you from going solar. So you can still go solar regardless of whatever your HOA says. They have to allow you to go solar. Other states like Pennsylvania, they can absolutely block you. It's totally up to the HOA.
Why would they block it to begin with? Is it like a looks thing, or like do they make revenue off the electric bills or something?
I think it's probably a looks thing or a bureaucracy thing. If these people who just like to sit around and find people because their grass is too long, or like they just really, really love telling people what they can and cannot do, are like the people who are in charge of an HOA. But they claim it's for, aesthetic reasons, or whatever else. I'm sure Mike can comment more on that, but I feel like they say no because it's cloudy outside on the day that they're getting asked.
I think it's a looks thing too, Kelly. I mean, I think most of the time, HOAs really try to keep their neighborhoods looking a certain way. You can't have your color or your door be this color. You can't have the shutters be a certain color. So a lot of HOAs will allow solar, but they don't want to see it from the road, which is, again, for customers that have, their southern facing roof is facing the road, could be obviously a problem or a headache to go solar. I think inevitably it's going to change, and it will change through them all. We were working with one HOA trying to get it pushed through, and went to a meeting, sat there and pleaded the case, and they just no thanks, we don't need it, we don't want it. So
really,
inevitably I think that will change down the road, but as of right now they can still block you, and you should know that ahead of time, or obviously day of sale if you can. Like I said, most of them have websites or phone numbers you can call or email. The homeowner will probably know the answer. My guess is, if they're looking for a solar assessment and consultation, they're probably already checked with their HOA, in my opinion. But again, do your due diligence.
Hello everyone, my name is Kelly Wilson, CEO of Apollo Energy Company. Extremely excited to announce our Dealer Incubator Program. So what is the Dealer Incubator Program and who is it for? The Dealer Incubator Program is for dealers, small teams of sales guys, ideally doing at least 10 deals a month, and we want to help you grow to doing 50 deals a month. Who is the program not for? The program is not necessarily for an individual salesperson. If you're just a single sales guy looking for a new opportunity, we can definitely bring you into our own internal team. We provide leads to our team, and we can get you doing 10 to 15 deals a month right away. So what problems are we going to help you solve with the dealer incubator program? Maybe you're not getting paid properly on the deals that you've sold. Maybe the payments aren't coming as fast as you were told that they were going to come. Maybe the installs are sloppy or the finance is expiring before your deals even get installed. Maybe you don't have the marketing in place to continue to feed your team leads. Maybe you don't have the recruiting in place to keep new blood coming into your organization. And perhaps you just don't have the operations in place to properly scale your team. We're here to help you solve all of those different problems. You're guaranteed to get paid when we say you're going to get paid. You're guaranteed to get paid the amount that we say you're going to get paid well ahead of time, and in line with your commission reports and the adder sheets that you have. We guarantee that you're going to receive the volume-based discounts that we outline for you ahead of time, and you're guaranteed to receive immediate support, whether it's at 11 p.m. on Tuesday night or at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. Our team is available to help you around the clock, 7 days a week. What type of results can you expect by joining us in the incubator program? You can expect to significantly grow your dealer or your sales organization, and you can expect to have massive success with the EPCs that we work with already. And you can expect that if you're exceeding 50 deals a month, you will be turned over to them directly. Apollo Energy is also going to assist you with establishing, if you don't have one already, an operations team, as well as a marketing and recruiting team, so that your deals can get installed quickly, you can get paid quickly, you can keep new leads flowing into your organization, and you can keep a pipeline of new blood coming into the organization to run those leads. Looking forward to working with you. We actually had one of our reps who we gave a really nice, employee discount to. He spent like $4,000 trying to fight his HOA in Pennsylvania and couldn't get his system on.
Is that with lawyer costs?
Yeah, I don't know if it was lawyers, maybe.
Well, the weird thing about that, Kelly,
gifts.
the HOA rules didn't even apply when he bought the home, which was why he was so frustrated as well. Remember that? The HOA
he got the home, like the HOA came in after the fact, after he bought the house and like made this development like an HOA. And then he tried to go solar because he's one of our sales reps in Pennsylvania, and shut him down, wouldn't let him go solar.
Oh, so they never won.
Nope.
No, right as of right now, no.
Wow.
This was like a year ago or something before the rates changed. Like he was gonna get like a 199 or one, whatever it was back like a year and a half ago. And he was like super excited because we give all of our own reps like a great discount. So his HOA blocked him. Huge pain. He spent like almost $4,000 trying to fight it and can't get solar.
Wow. Just to quickly butt in, those everyone who's watching, if you guys have some crazy HOA stories, drop them in the comments. We want to see them.
Oh, dude, the HOAs are brutal.
They can be.
That's why you gotta know. You gotta know too what market that you're calling in, right? Because
Yep.
a lot of homeowners have no idea like how you're doing your marketing. Homeowners, like in most states that have a solar rights law, it's not like some giant announcement. The HOAs aren't going to let you know, oh, solar rights, we can't block you from getting solar anymore, right? Yeah. So it's important that you know that, because there's like one of them is a big difference between when you're doing marketing in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, right? Because we tell people all the time on the phone, we pique people's interest just because we talk to them and they're like, oh, my HOA said I can't get solar. Well, have you seen this law, miss? And we have a link saved, like have it bookmark, so our marketing team can shoot it out like whenever it's necessary. And then they get super interested in the appointment because we're the first person that has ever told them about this law. So HOA law in New Jersey, and there's a ton of states that have solar rights laws. There's a lot of states that don't, though. So just one more part of being a professional is knowing your market and where you're selling in, and how to do your marketing and how you do your sales appropriately.
Yeah. And one thing, Carlos, if anybody wants to check it out, there's a website called solarunitedneighbors.org. That will help people with HOAs.
What's it called?
Solarunitedneighbors.org.
I'll drop that into the comments. Okay, I think I may have spelled it wrong.
.org. You can type in a link in here.
Yeah.
There we go.
And then The last thing, I think again, this is kind of like the, the day of, before I get into some of the DNQ things I want to talk about, but NTP, for those that don't know what NTP means, notice to proceed with the lender. We can get credit approval, obviously day of sale, right? We all know we can get credit approved in like 30 seconds with most of our lender partners. However, that does not mean that there won't be some kind of stipulation that pops up 24 hours later or 12 hours later, or something like that that may incur and happen to prevent the NTP for the customer, which again, notice to proceed means that the lender is fully approved, it will get funded, you're good to go, all systems are green. So what I recommend to everybody is that you do call the lender either the day of or day after, preferably day of with the customer, to make sure that there isn't any other stipulations that would be required in order to ensure the project will get fully funded. I know for a fact that not a lot of people probably do that because it could be kind of, again, you're adding a step, but just ensure that that customer is going to get funded, and the project will obviously move forward because, again, you sign a contract and inevitably 24 hours later, they throw a stipulation and therefore you have to clear, and you didn't tell the customer this might happen, and you didn't set the expectation with them, then all of a sudden, again, pick up surprises. Nobody likes surprises. Solar customers hate surprises. So best to do that day of sale if possible, if it makes sense for you when you're doing your project.
Yeah, and I feel like because there's so many moving parts in solar, anything that's like outside the, whatever expectation you've set, it could, kill the deal.
Well, it's still such an unknown for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, not everybody in this group, but like for homeowners, right? It's still like, I've heard of this and I've heard of this and I've heard of this. So when you set a certain expectation or certain set of expectations, and then like Mike said, you just come at them with a ton of surprises, they are not going to be feeling the comfy, cozy way that they should be when they're going to go solar.
Yeah, I mean, so many people and so many newer reps, you're talking to the customer, and we've all been there. You're getting excited, they're getting excited, they ran credit, they got approved, yes, they got approved. And it's like that pet you get for the first time, right? You want to hug it so much, then you just squeeze it to death. If you're not too careful, right? So it's like you gotta remember though, this is a major project, right? And customers really, really do not like surprises. And so many people are so afraid to say anything during or right after or the next day. They're so afraid that the job's going to cancel, right? That there's like this deal is teetering on the edge always of this customer might cancel. And the reason for that is I think that our mentality is we closed the deal, and now what do you think is we're thinking in our heads, we're spending our commission already, right? So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to have that deal fall off the wrong way, and now all of a sudden you spent your money on a car already, and then it's gone, right? So you're so afraid to go back for these details, and the details are how you get jobs across the finish line. And
I think it also comes down to training, because a lot of sales reps, they don't know what it looks like after. So because it's unknown for the sales rep, they don't know what expectations to set for the customer. Like Steven says, Steven Valente, biggest issue I've seen is the homeowner needs an SPU or MSP to add solar, and it's a surprise. Make sure the master electrician knows what the capabilities are for their electrical system. This can cause months of permit changes and utility disconnects.
No, Steve, you should be selling those upgrades when you're in the house, man.
Yeah.
You should be getting that homeowner when you're doing a virtual presentation just like this to walk you down to his main panel and take a picture of it. And so that you can see if he's got 100 amp service or if he's got 150 or 200 amp service, so that you can sell people an NPU over a Google Meet and not get hit with a $3,500 charge later on.
And that's
even like add it as a default.
Well, that's something
you could do that too. But if you want to give them back a rebate or potentially keep it, a lot of people might not like it if they have it added in as a default, or just probing questions, man. How old's your electrical panel? How many amps is it? Guy says, I have no idea. Well, hey, send me a picture of it. I need to know what kind of shape your electrical panel's in. And all these questions are going to create the image in the mind of the homeowner that you're a professional that knows what you're doing and what you're talking about. And then they're going to feel comfortable doing business with you because you're concerned about things like this.
We talked to our team about doing pre-qualification with the customer, right? Asking these questions about their electrical system. We've I know I've been in some houses. I'm sure a bunch of people will also see this or have seen this, where you get downstairs and it has the old tubes and knobs in the electrical system, and you get down there and the panel's already sparking, and you probably need to think about adding in an upgrade to that bad boy.
One a long time ago, that was a surge protector was like the guy's main panel.
Yeah.
But again, listen, this is an opportunity though, right? If a homeowner is looking to go solar and their electrical system is garbage, then you're now going to add a lot more value. And, famously, he was on here earlier, Sammy DeMarco, our VP of sales, service obligates. He says it all the time. You are there benefiting that customer, right? They're never, I'm going to say this again, nobody wants to fix a water heater when they have to, right? Nobody wants to fix their car when they have to, right? You're never in the right position. If your roof leaks, it's always the worst time, right? Your water heater goes out, it's always the worst time. So if you can benefit that customer and show them how you're going to benefit them by upgrading their main service panel along with their solar system, and hey, guess what? We can do this all under one umbrella, lump it all together, one low payment, I mean, and your house is now going to be secured electrically, and you're going to be producing your own power for yourself right on your rooftop. How cool is that? Those kind of things, including, asking a customer ahead of time about their roof, right? Are you asking those questions? How old is your roof? Okay, what kind of shingles are they? And Kelly has a lot of roofing experience, so if a home is built with what we call like builder grade material, right? You can go to like Home Depot and get the sink your house was built with, right? And they have those really nice looking 3-tab shingles that everyone loves to use on new houses. Kelly, how long those roofs last for?
You're gonna scratch by and maybe get 20 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're ready to go at 15. I mean, if you like take super good care of it and you have a ridge vent and you have some other nice upgrades like nicer underlayment and stuff like that, maybe you get 25 years out of it. But 3-tab is junk, and most of the time if you walk on a 3-tab that's like 20 years old or older, the shingle just starts crumbling and it falls apart like underneath of your feet. So it's important to like be able to identify those kind of shingles, like the 3-tab shingles, because they are junk. I'll actually pull one of the things up here because we can pull them up all. That's one of the things we were talking about in the meeting last week, was like just looking up a house on maps, right? Getting the street view, and you can see what kind of shingles it has. You can see if it has, it's usually pretty easy to identify if it has 3-tab or an architectural shingle, and then all the other things that go into roofing, like if it has a ridge vent or not. And I can pull up some pictures here if you want, and you can see some of these other things, whether it's a ridge vent or no ridge vent, the streak marks, which is like those little, have you ever seen those little black streak marks going down a roof? That's actually a little organism that's growing on the shingles and it's eating away at the shingles. I used to think it was like leftover marks from like water or whatever, like a water mark on your roof, but it's actually a little microorganism that's eating away at the shingles. And people think, oh man, I can just power wash it off. That's probably the worst thing that you can do, is when people power wash their roof, it actually removes the protective granules from the shingles. So you might get the whatever moss or streak marks or whatever off, but they're going to come back so much worse in 6 months because you just like ripped off the protection of the roof. So it's going to just come back so much worse. And you're going to have a worse problem.
Yeah. And listen, adding a roof to a solar system for a customer is again, another great value adder for them. When you can tie it all into the deal, now they're set up with a solar system, they're set up with a brand new roof, and having the right roofing partner is also a very, very important thing. We are very fortunate and lucky. We have an amazing roofing partner that gives our customers like a complete scope of work. It's just a 50-year roof. It's just amazing. But again, identifying these things ahead of time is where the best thing you want to be, because if you go after the fact, it's 2 weeks down the road, site survey's been done. Oh, by the way, this customer needs a roof, and you've never prepped them for this.
Oh,
Now all of a sudden,
it's like a hard sell.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
or the
like
electrical.
Yeah, to the customer, it looks like we're trying to like upsell them, right? We're scamming them,
exactly.
right? And again, obviously that's not the case, but a lot of major installers nowadays, your big box companies will not even install on 3-tab shingles anymore. A lot of them are pushing back on that. And a lot of new homes have those 3-tab shingles when they're built. It's just because it's builder grade material. It's cheaper
cheap.
way to build the home.
It's extremely cheap, and most new home buyers or new homeowners, they don't know like about residential construction. They don't know the difference between nice new roofing and shitty new roofing. They can just tell the difference between new roofing and not new roofing, right? So they just get, oh, these shingles look nice. They're the pretty brown or blue or whatever color that I want, and they have no idea that they're going to be falling apart in 15 years. So that's actually something that we target a lot too. Is you can go on Zillow, and that's one of the things that we do is we'll pick out neighborhoods that are 15 to 20 years old. It's perfect for marketing, cold calling or canvassing, picking out neighborhoods, because any neighborhood that's going to be in that mark, that 20-year mark, they're all going to have those 3-tab shingles, and they're all going to need to be replaced. All those homeowners need a roof replacement. It's not even a question. They need one. So that is like, you go in there, I've got you roof and solar, wrap you in one payment, it's comparable to your electric bill, and we give you a brand new roof. And most people don't even know what roofing companies actually charge. So I used to work for a roofing company, and we were selling really high quality roofs, but we were charging like $1,000 a square for, if you guys don't know what squares are in roofing, a square is just 100 square feet. It's 10 by 10, and that's a square of roofing. So, big roofs, 30 squares or 40 squares, like you can pay 40 or 50 grand from a really reputable roofing contractor. And that's for like a top of the line warranty. If you're getting like GAF, you're getting like a master lead contractor, golden pledge warranty, like top of the line stuff. What we offer now with our roofing partners, we have that by default, but because of the volume that we do, we get that for like less than $500 a square, and I price condition it against what roofing companies charge for that kind of roofing, because there's big roofing companies like maybe like Power Home Remodeling Group's probably one of the biggest roofing companies in the country. They offer the same exact, they offer the same exact warranty, because GAF doesn't actually offer a higher warranty. That you just can't get a higher warranty. They have world-class salesmanship and a killer reputation because they do like $900 million a year in business, but they still only offer the same 50-year warranty. It is a killer warranty, but they probably charge in $1,200 to $1,500 a square, give or take, for that same roof. You can charge 1/3 of the price, roll it in with the solar system, and homeowners are saving a ton of money, and you're solving a huge problem for them, which is they need to get a new roof.
Yep.
So that's a great one. If you want to take anything away from this, look on Zillow for homes that are 15 to 25 years old, like basically anything built after 1990. If they're in that 25 range, you're probably going to have half to more than half of that roofs already replaced in that neighborhood. But that 20-year range is freaking ideal. They need those replacements, and they're probably at the point where like maybe 5% of that neighborhood has had roofs replaced already, 5 to 10%. But then that's just like, it's about to be a huge wave of they all need roof replacements.
Wow. Yeah.
And just so everyone knows, in case you don't know, if you can set a customer up and say, listen, you don't think you need a roof, that's absolutely fine. No problems with your customer. We're going to do a complete site survey and we'll confirm and see how it looks inside and outside. But if you do need a roof, we'll be happy to, give you a quote and include that in the project just to give them set up for it. And in case anybody does not know how to estimate what a roof would cost, there's pretty simple ways you can do that. For one, if you have access to a design platform software that gives you the square footage of the roof, but as in different faces, you can just take that number. And like Kelly said, a square is a 10 by 10, right? So you can divide it, and then you can basically for most roofs, you can take that number of squares, you can times it by what we typically do for normal roofs is 1.15. That you have to account for some waste when you're doing this. You take that number and you times it by the average number of price per square in your area, wherever you're selling, if you have that number, by the way. So it's a quick, easy way to get an estimate.
I can imagine new reps. Have you guys know that meme where there's the guy is drawing all the formulas on the whiteboard?
Yeah.
I can imagine new reps like, oh my God, what the hell? Now we're getting some comments. I'm going to read them out. So we've got Charles Aguirre says, California will live on in NEM3. Go solar in CA. Let's go, baby. Andrew Watson says, identify the house during qualification, understand the roof, meter, position, roof age. It's all opportunities to serve the customer. So true. Stephen, my man, he says, you can wrap the roof into the loan and ITC credit in certain areas if you know the cheat codes. Ooh, that's juicy.
That's always a hot topic, Carlos.
You got to be careful.
Hot topic.
Yeah, it's probably another topic for another day.
So anybody who's new is watching this, the roofs are not eligible for your tax credit. It's written in the tax code, right? It's not eligible for your tax credit. But a lot of companies get away with it by not listing a roof out on the contract and just raising the cost of the solar installation by whatever the amount of that roof replacement would cost, right? So instead of saying, hey, this solar system costs $100,000, now the solar system costs $120,000, but you're getting a free roof. So that's how a lot of companies get around it. But just so you know, you got to be careful with what you tell homeowners, because the roof is not in the ITC, and that's one way that you can make yourself look like somebody who's shady or doesn't know what they're talking about, because that's you're gonna be accused of misleading somebody right into tax fraud, which is not something that you want to do. So it's important to know that roofs are not accounted for in the ITC, but a lot of companies get around it by just not listing the roof out on the agreement, and they just raise the cost of the solar system by $10,000 or $15,000 or whatever. And as long as it's under that 750 PPW cap that most lenders have, nobody really looks twice at it.
Yeah. And then the last thing, Carlos, I want to mention about the kind of the day of, the first things to talk about the customer. And I've heard this too many times from customers. The day of install, right? Conduit, right? Will there be conduit on my roof? Will there be conduit on the side of my house? Will I see conduit? I can't tell you how many projects have been halted or stopped or resold because the day of, customer had no idea there was going to be conduit on their home, visible anyways. So it's not something that you need to necessarily bring up the day of the sale, but again, giving the customer the complete picture and correct expectations will lead to a smoother install process. So that was just the last thing I wanted to mention about that, because I think it's something that not too many people talk about. And again, it leads to a lot of weird hesitation or possible delays day of. And if there's anybody out there that ever had a install be stopped day of install, it's one of those heartbreaking moments, where it's like, oh my God,
you're the dealer, man. You're getting charged for that.
Yeah, it's never a good thing. So again, solar has never really been good at being proactive, right? That word seems to have escaped this industry for a long time, proactive. But I think the more you can do and the more you stay in touch with the customer and again, properly set their expectations, you're going to have a lot happier customers, a lot smoother process, and inevitably get PTO much, much quicker.
That's part of our like we have a like qualification process when we're talking to homeowners, and you know, we're asking them, how old's your roof? What kind of shingles do you have? If I could share my screen, it's actually really easy to identify. And this is like, if you could take one thing away from this as a new rep, it's just knowing what the difference is between a 3-tab shingle and an architectural shingle, and how to identify that. And all of these, like, just little things, right? Like knowing what a 3-tab shingle is and an architectural shingle, and why that homeowner is going to need a new roof before you even talk to the homeowner. They don't even know they need a new roof yet. Like, it might be like a thought, like maybe I need a new roof, right? And you explain to them right away why they need a new roof. In their mind, you are the freaking professional. You are making them feel comfortable because you are knowledgeable about their home, right? Not just about solar, but you're knowledgeable about their roof. You're knowledgeable about their electrical panel, and you make them feel that comfy, cozy feeling that only comes when you work with somebody who is confident and competent.
It's like, my roof's not leaking. I don't need a new roof.
Right? Yeah, my roof's not leaking. And when your roof is leaking, that roof that comes out there, he is going to quote you 3 times as much as I did, and you're going to pay it because your roof is leaking.
Yep. The average roof can leak for almost a year before people might notice as well.
That's actually a good point. Most homeowners don't know that their roof is leaking until it's been leaking for a year, before it actually leaks into the house. It's just destroying your decking.
Yeah, crazy.
But Stevie again, says, ask homeowners if they have vaulted ceilings or if they have attic access. Changes the conduit visual.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of IPs will, you know, most people want that attic punch, right? So, you know, on a solar array, if you can punch right through the roof and do like a solar deck or however kind of junction box you're going to use, you can punch right into the attic and run flexible conduit all through the attic, you know, right to the outside of the house. But 99% of solar systems are still going to require conduit to punch out of the attic and then down to the inverter side of the house or the combiner panel, whichever you're using, microinverters or a string inverter. So usually there's going to be conduit somewhere, maybe minimally in the side of the house. But the good thing is, and I recommend this to people who are worried about the aesthetics of it, right? After it's inspected, just you can paint it. You can paint the conduit, match the color of the house. You know, however you want to do that. Definitely something you can do. I do recommend, if you're going to paint the conduit, if you're going to recommend to a homeowner, make sure they try to cover up the red PV stickers that are on the conduit, just for inspection purposes, safety purposes. But after it's inspected, after it has PTO, it's not really a big deal. You can paint that conduit, it'll blend right into your home. You'll never see it again.
Yeah, wow. I think in Australia, it's illegal to paint over the conduit.
It might be. Again, just to preface that in asterisks, you know, I'm not the foremost expert by any stretch of imagination, so I can only tell you from my experience, and I've never run into it where it has been a problem yet in the multiple states I've worked.
I've never sold solar in Australia either, so
I haven't done that either yet. So.
And the big difference that we saw with the difference between like conduit in Australia and conduit in America, the conduit in Australia, it's plastic. It's like some sort of plastic, and it's all bendy. Whereas in the US, it's all metal.
Well, there are some
flex, right?
Well, there's some that's flexible. There's some you have multiple kinds of conduit, right? The EMT, which is that that metal looking stuff you see most of the time, which is, you know, somewhat rigid. That's the majority of what people use, where they have to manually bend the pipe bender. Then you have, you know, flexible liquid tight, flexible, you know, kind of you'll see running from a small section usually on the outside of the home. But most people use that rigid EMT that runs along the roof or down the house in the States anyways. But you can use flex in certain situations. Most people just don't like it because it does not look aesthetically pleasing, because it's not you can't make it perfectly straight usually. So, all these things we're talking about, right, is a precursor to one thing that bites a lot of people in the rear afterwards, which is like the hidden adders thing, or what you talked about, Carlos, earlier with, now, or someone mentioned in the comments about now I need a main panel upgrade after the fact, or the installer is going to add a line side tap, which is adding some money. A lot of people have a lot of bad taste in their mouth from certain installers that will throw hidden adders at you where you thought you were going to make X dollars a commission and now you're making half that, right? I think a lot of that heartache can be really mitigated by properly qualifying the home, setting the homeowner up for what might happen, what could happen. And then that way, if you do get hit with an adder, after the fact that would DQ the project, if you don't, you can be very comfortable going back to the customer and getting the change order, right? You don't have to eat everything out of your commission. You don't. There are a lot of ways that you add value to that customer and you are servicing that customer. And again, like the great Sammy DeMarco always says, service obligates, right? So show that to the customer, get a change order signed. You don't have to eat the commission. Too many people are doing that because they're afraid, like we talked about earlier, that deal's just going to cancel out, right? Keep in constant contact, set them up for the expectations, and keep your commission.
Yeah, and look, there's probably going to be someone listening to this either now or later that is in the situation, like the sticky situation where they sold a deal. Maybe it's like their only deal for the whole month, and they've just been sent an email from the installer saying, we've got to do an MPU. Please add to finance or eat the commission. How should reps handle that if they didn't set the right expectations at the beginning? Like, what would be the best way for them to handle it so they don't lose the deal?
It's a great question. Obviously, it depends on the customer and the relationship you have with them. In my opinion, it's blunt and to the point, right? We're going to do your solar project. In order for us to meet in the code, right, to be able to get inspected and be able to get you your energy ownership, and to move forward and properly, have this system be secured for you for the next 35, 55 years, we're going to have to upgrade your system so that it meets current code, right? Now, normally we have to, charge you X number of dollars, it could be $5,000 from the contractor. But listen, we're going to take care of this for you. We're going to lump it all together. It's just going to add $12 to your monthly payment, and then you're going to be all set. You don't have to worry about it. I would always recommend talking about the payment number and not necessarily the overall cost. Yeah. And again, it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing we're doing this for you right now, because down the road, this could give you a lot of problems. We caught this early, though. Thank God for solar.
It's a good angle, man.
It's also really important that you're just communicating with your customer, because it's going to make that conversation a lot easier, right? If you're there talking to them, keeping them updated, we just got your engineering back here. Check out here's the engineering, right? Here's the stamped engineering of your project. This is what it's going to look like. Here's your layout, right? We just filed for permits, or whatever it is. Oh, that's when you catch it, right? Oh, we can't file for permits because you have this MPU and we need to have the MPU. So we're filing for permits on this upgraded system, but it's the only way you can go solar, so we need to work that into the financing, right? So it's all going to be dependent upon your relationship. At the end of the day, you got to take responsibility, right? For your customer, right? It's your fault that you didn't catch that at point of sale. It's not the homeowner's fault, right? It's the rep who sold the deal's fault that was not caught at point of sale. And it's your fault that you don't have a strong enough relationship with your customer that you can manage that.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to keep running into that situation until you accept that responsibility, that it's your fault to catch that at point of sale, and that it's your fault that you don't have a good enough relationship with your customer that you feel like they're going to cancel if you bring that up with them.
Yeah.
And if you keep dishing that blame out elsewhere, you are not going to have the success that you want to have. And you're going to just keep hoping and praying, fingers crossed, that you can just throw up some Hail Marys and they're going to get across no problem.
Yeah.
But listen, and what's a better outcome, right? So think about this. If you're selling a bunch of deals and you're doing really well, closing business, that's awesome. And if you're letting somebody else manage your pipeline, right? The IP, the EPC, your dealer, whomever, right? And you're not keeping in constant contact with the customer, okay? Now all of a sudden they need an MPU, right? They need a main service panel upgrade. And then all of a sudden the big box companies concierge reaches out to the customer with a very emotionally connected conversation about this, or you've remained in constant contact with them and you talk to them and walk them through this. What's the better outcome, you think? You keep that relationship strong and have set those expectations, it won't be a problem. So again, don't be afraid to keep that constant contact. If the deal is going to cancel, the deal is going to cancel anyway, right? It's not going to cancel because you tried to service the customer better. That's not why the deal is going to cancel.
Yeah, right. The customer doesn't need to talk to you to cancel that contract, right? They're going to cancel because you didn't talk to them enough. So going back to that point Mike made earlier, if you're not communicating with that customer, you are just increasing your chances of cancellation. They're not going to cancel by you. They're not going to cancel because you reached out to them. They're going to cancel because you didn't.
Communicate rather than under communicate.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, a simple weekly text to your customer is a beautiful thing. That's all it can take, right? Put a calendar reminder in your calendar, in your phone, in your notebook, weekly check-in. Nope, it doesn't even matter if you have an update for it, right? Hey, just checking in. How's it going? I remember you guys said you were going to a baseball game. Oh, cool. Just let you know we're still on track, moving along. If I have any updates, I'll let you know. Have a great weekend. That's simple.
And Kelly will resonate with this because you're on Cardo and GC says there's no one thing that will that will lose you the deal, or that will
one thing that will blow a deal.
That will blow a deal. It's a combination of little things throughout the sale.
Yeah, there's no one thing that will blow a deal. Right. If you think there's one thing that blew a deal, you never had a deal.
Yeah.
And then this is something I really wanted to talk about. So this is a big one, which is I got a call from my customer and now they're being charged for their system and they're paying their electric bill and they don't have PTO yet. That's a big one. And that can really, really have a negative impact on your book of business. Yeah. And that referral lead from that customer you've already signed, right? So ensuring people understand how the lending works, when it's active, and when they should probably receive their first bill is something that should be talked about until their customer is clear and understand that your lending. Most lenders, as most of us know, if you're new to the industry, you might not know this, but most lenders will start their payment roughly 2 months after the install has been completed, right? Again, it varies. I know there's different lenders that vary on that, but a lot of lenders are like that, the big ones anyways. And there's a very real possibility that your customer may not get PTO prior to receiving a bill from the solar company, which is a huge heartache for a lot of people. So most installers will reimburse that. Was that, Kelly?
Said especially if you do not prepare them for that.
Yes.
They will be pissed at you. They will
be pissed. It's the same way they're gonna be pissed is if you. I'm gonna let the little dirty secret out, right? What do a lot of people complain about? Oh, my solar consultant told me I was gonna get a check from the government for $30,000 when I went solar.
Oh, the ITC check, the famous ITC check. Yeah,
a bunch of people just squirmed right now.
And there's probably a rep saying like, "Well, wait a minute, I don't get a check."
Yeah, that's a whole hour-long podcast right there, Carlos. But yeah, listen, set them up for success. Set yourself up for success because your biggest lead source is your sold customer, right? So when they have a good experience, and by the way, hiccups, things happen during construction projects, right? If you've ever had a kitchen remodel or an addition to your home or even something simple, there's always hiccups with construction, and that's okay as long as you set the expectation and it's not a surprise. So that's what you want to avoid. Avoid surprises, give the customers all the right expectations, and you won't run into any issues like this where customers are giving you bad reviews online or not giving you, future business. So if you have a big book of business that you've sold, maybe you've done really well this year, and you sold 50, 60, 70, 100 deals this year, right? But you don't have one referral from an installed
Yeah.
customer, you need to rethink what you're doing, what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's such an untapped lead source, the referrals. And I feel like, a lot of reps have been trained to just focus on the first sale and then just move on to the next one. So there's no regard for what happens after. Whereas in other industries, the referral is like, a massive component of the company growth.
Yeah. I think it stems from disbelief. I think some people who are in the industry, we attract a lot of people because of the money that we can make, right? The money in solar is, if you've been here long enough, it can be pretty sick. It's pretty good, but it also can attract the wrong people, right? So remember, be the right person, do the right thing, service the customer, benefit the customer, and you're going to have a book of business to last you for a very long time. Kelly knows somebody who just, makes a very successful career selling and a huge amount of referrals, and the guy does the right thing. He has a good partner. I mean, we won't mention it, but it's how he probably gets, I don't know, maybe half his business or 2/3 of his business. Maybe, I don't know.
What's up, guys? It's Carlos here, and hope you guys are enjoying this podcast. Really quickly wanted to jump in here and say that over the last year or so, I've helped hundreds of door-to-door guys, salespeople transition into remote solar sales. Now, the number one problem that I found is the amount of capital that is required for someone who is in door-to-door or a salesperson to need to invest to be able to move into the remote sales world. What are those capital intensive things? The first thing is you need a dialer. Second is you need a CRM. Third is you need the leads. The leads alone are going to cost you at best $1 each. Most expensive ones can be anywhere from $5 to $10. And if you're generating Facebook leads, these could be up to, $40, $50, even $60 a pop. So it can get pretty expensive to set up your own operation. If you then want to build a team, you then need to hire people. You need to have build a culture. You need to start building a community. So everything stacks up in terms of time, in terms of money. So what we've done to solve that problem is we've created a team. And this is an internal team called Remote Sales Pro. This is a team that you can apply to join. And what we do is we handle everything. So we give you the dialer, we give you the CRM, we give you a team of experts and managers that will help you close the deals as well. We even include up to 350,000 leads that we preload into the dialer. So all you need to do is apply. If you're chosen, you just go through a quick training course, and then from day 3, you're dialing and you're making sales. So if you're interested in learning more about the Remote Sales Pro team, all you need to do is go click on the link below. It's remotesalespro.org/apply. Fill in your details, register for the next webinar, which happens every single Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern. Attend the webinar. We'll tell you all about the opportunity. We'll tell you how you can apply, and we're really, really excited to see you there. So guys, continue watching the podcast. Super excited to continue creating content for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's roll.
Yeah, I mean, you need enough people, but I know a couple people who I'm pretty close with that are closing consistently 35, 40 deals a month. And referrals is a big one, right?
Yeah.
But you get that by staying in touch with and taking good care of customers.
Yep.
You don't get that, and I saw the one comment yeah, we get PTO 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, that's how it should be in most cases. But you want to be prepared for people for when it's not that most cases, right? There might be some kind of deficiency. Maybe your end phase isn't reporting properly. There could be any number of things that can come up that could extend that wait to PTO. And I've also seen it happen where somebody gets PTO and then the lender just messes up and doesn't bill them for 6 months, and they get 6 months of free electricity too. So
Wow.
I'm not going to call up Sonova and be like, yo, dude, this guy doesn't have
Where's my
PTO.
bill?
Why aren't you charging it? Why aren't you charging my customer yet? So, but sometimes they're on it, and it's important to know the terms, right? In the agreement, even if they have PTO in 3 weeks, right? If you're going to get them PTO in a month and let them know their timelines, it's still important to know what the payment timing is, right? The payment timing is 2 months after install. Now we're going to get you PTO in 3 or 4 weeks. So you're not going to have to worry about that. But, you know, if you go on vacation for 2 months and you don't let the inspector come out post install, we're not going to be able to get you PTO, and you're going to get charged from the lender for your solar system after 60 days. Right. So it's important that, you know, you still work with us to get this inspected so we can get your system turned on.
Yeah.
Yep,
Even
and-
like have that on like a document, something that's sent to them, put it on their freaking fridge. That way,
Yeah.
you know,
'Cause
they
we've
know
had some
there's
people that are like,
communication.
oh, yeah, I was here for the install. You know, what do I need the inspector here for? Or they're like, they're not home for the inspection. So the inspector like can only
They
see the
leave.
outside and he can't look at the panel, and then he just fails them. You
Yeah.
know, like, so, you know, I had it once happen where the guy was out back and the inspector just like went to the front door and knocked on the door and nobody answered and he left, and
He
then they
left.
failed the customer. Yeah. You know, so if they, you know, all of this comes back to like communicating with your customers and making sure they're prepared for all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also,
It seems really simple, right? Like what we're talking about seems super simple. Like it's just staying in communication, staying in contact, you know, keeping an eye on your deal, right? Again, the whole title of this was, you know, PTO is the goal, closing is step one. That is true, right? Close a deal, and now that project has started, right? It hasn't ended, it started.
it started.
And there's
Yeah.
and there's so
Exactly.
many things in between there that you got to do. And you know, it's like site survey, right? If you're local, go to the site survey, right? Hang out with the customer, see what's going on, right? Be there for them. And again, you're going to have a lot more information, a lot better relationship. And please, by all means, if you can be at the install, be at the install, because that is one of the biggest sources of self-gen you can get, right? At the install, you're knocking the neighbors. That's my project going up, right? Your neighbor Sean's roof right there. You know, he went solar because of this. You have some time, we can talk about a free assessment and get some information. You know, that's
Also be
the
at the site
best way to do
surveys.
that.
Fly this, check out the drone that's flying over there. That's surveying my project. And that's a great way that you can catch those questions that are going to come up, like all the questions or hesitations that he didn't ask you at the point of sale, right? When you close that deal, or he forgot about, you can catch them at site survey and then get a ton of referrals, or you know, knock the neighbors, right, and go get some deals while the drone is flying overhead, or whatever's going on.
Yeah. And you can repurpose all of that into content for social media as well. Because everyone's got at least like 500 followers, or, you know, they follow 500 people. So you go to a site survey, take some content, leverage that onto social media, people on social media seeing it, boom, start getting referrals like, oh, what's this thing that you're doing? How can I get one of those?
Carlos, you might have 500 followers, but I don't.
Yeah, you don't have Facebook, right? I think I saw that earlier.
No, but listen, you know, don't be afraid of change orders. Don't be afraid of communicating with the customer during the process. Just don't be afraid of that, because again, you're missing out on big opportunities. I can't tell you how many projects were stalled because of a simple customer contact that was needed. That's it, right? I mean, I can think back tons of deals where a rep would say, you know, that we're waiting for a rep to get to touch the customer, get this paperwork signed, you know, whatever the case may be, and they're just not doing it, right? Don't be that guy, right? Be the pro, be here for the long run. This is the best industry to be in. It really is. It's got a bright future. You know, the people will go back and forth about how much market saturation we have right now. It's probably somewhere around 4%. Is a big future in solar. Be here for the long haul. Don't be afraid to reach out to customers and get these projects across the finish line. Get paid faster, get the customer producing faster and better. And you will inevitably lead to more business for yourself if you want to be here for the long haul.
Exactly. Yeah. It's always thinking long term. So David, I was going to say David Ike, but David Heim says, is this recorded? I didn't get here until late. Yes, David. And for everyone who's watching this is a live show that we're doing into Sales Talk Solar Pros. It's going to stay on here. We're going to pin it to the top, but also follow Sales Talk with Solar Pros on Spotify and also on YouTube, because these are going to be edited and slapped up there with the rest of the podcast episodes as well. But yeah, unless Do we have any other questions on here? Steven says referrals exactly 12 years ago. That's how we built the solar industry. You build it right, safe, and make the homeowner understand how awesome it is to go solar. Any closing, David says, great. Any closing info that we should know?
I mean, I think I tried to say it earlier, Carlos. I just, I hope people who are here, who are on, in this group are pros, right? And you want to be here for the long run. You're not here just to make a quick buck. This is a career. This is something where you can, you make a customer for almost life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know too many people that have been in solar for, let's say, 25 years who've got repeat customers from that, right? Maybe they moved, they bought a house, but it's you make a customer for life, right? Wish them a happy birthday, check in for those referrals that way, right? Grant Cardone says it all the time about, I forget how many thousands of ways he has for getting referrals and reach out to customers. But again, be here for the long haul. Don't be afraid to reach out to customers, do a constant weekly check-in with all your projects. Don't be blindsided too, right? And you get to the end, now all of a sudden you weren't watching your project. You thought you were making 4K from the project, and now you're making 2 and you had no idea, right? Keep an eye on everything. It's your business. Don't let anybody else manage your business.
Never look at their
and I guess
program,
lastly
and they
is
see all these adders that have to get taken care of, and they ignore it for 3 months, and then it gets installed because they just ignored it for 3 months, so it got approved by somebody else, and then they're like, oh man, I thought I was making $7,000 on this. Why am I only making $2,000?
Yeah.
Well, there's this whole email thread with like 40 people in it asking about this MPU or whatever else. And there's like 30 emails back and forth and nobody answered. So the IP just went ahead and installed the project.
Oh, wow.
There's
no follow-up. That's
so
crazy.
again, just do the right thing. And if you do the right thing, the good things will happen to you. But like I said, biggest takeaway for anybody new or anybody that's, maybe been here for a while and has struggled a little bit is work on your contact with the customer. And remember, we've all had canceled deals. Deals won't cancel if you reach out to a customer in the right way, and manage your business and get paid, right? And then lead to more and more and more business. And you will have an awesome time. And I can't think of a better place to be. I mean, I get to do this stuff, right? With awesome people like Kelly and Carlos. So it's an awesome place to be.
Love it, my man. And David says communication with Apollo is top notch. So Kelly, you've got the incubator. You kickstarted that about a month ago. For anyone that wants to join a company, maybe they're new, maybe they're looking for a new home. Tell us about the incubator. How does it work? Who's it for? And what can they expect once they actually join?
Oh, well, the whole point of the program, is we could take small dealers who are doing maybe 10 deals a month or 5 to 10 deals a month plus, right? And we want to get you to doing 50 plus, and we want to help you do it in 3 months. We can help you with marketing. We can help you with all kinds of different things like this operations, sales, like all these things that we can do as far as like even just roof training, right? We sell a ton of deals just because of roofing, right? Guys aren't even interested in solar, but it's such a good deal on a brand new roof. They can't say no, right? So all these little things, we'll combine them and help scale up your organization and turn you over to our install partner so that you can be direct with them and you'll be hooked up. And that's basically the whole gist of the program. We do all of our marketing internally. I think maybe that's a subject for another episode. I'll talk to Carlos. Maybe we'll do another one on creating your own leads in-house. But that's the best way to do it, man. We do all of our own marketing in-house. We don't buy leads or buy appointments. You can't be dependent on any kind of third party for the lifeblood of your organization. Because if they fail, you fail, because you need to have a constant influx of leads or you're screwed. So that's one of our like bread and butter. Our call center is pumping out probably 75 appointments a day, every day.
Wow, 75.
Yeah, and we're growing,
That's crazy, man.
So our call center is going to be pumping out consistently 100 to 150 plus probably by the end of this year. And that's not leads, man. That's booked appointments.
Wow.
And they're getting power bills. I mean, it's awesome.
Right.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
So having stuff like that is how you're going to be able to, even if you're not that great at sales, right? You're going to be able to get good at sales because you got a ton of opportunities to learn, you know? So there's nothing that beats having a full pipeline. So, and not having to rely on somebody else to fulfill your pipeline, right? Like probably like one of the core lessons that you can do to have success in this or business or anything else is just take responsibility, right? Take responsibility for your customers, take responsibility for the sale, take responsibility for that customer experience, and take responsibility for lead generation. You know, all those things are going to drive business, and we're going to help you with all those things if you work with us. So dealer support at apolloenergycompany.com. If you're doing 10 deals a month, we want to help you do 50 deals a month in 3 months. You know,
Boom. Let's go.
and
I'm gonna
if
drop
you're a
the
sales
link.
guy and you're not happy with where you're at, we will feed you leads and you can come and sell a ton of deals with us. We can give you 5+ leads a day, 10+ leads a day, every single day. So
I mean, listen,
we will say,
you talk to enough
sales
people,
guys are
you're
like,
gonna find that person. Yeah, you're gonna find that person that you talk to enough people. You find that one person who's like, I've been waiting for a solar guy to call me. I want to go solar right now.
yeah, we're making up phone calls. Our call center is pumping out
Yep.
close to like 150 to 200,000 phone calls a day, every day.
So Travis says, are EPCs trying to internalize sales allowed to join the incubator?
We'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I
That's
never turn
something
down a
that,
conversation, Travis. So let's chat.
and that's something that we could probably collaborate on, Kelly, because that's what we're doing. We're helping EPCs internalize their sales. So that could be a chat that we have later on. I'm going to drop the link to the dealer inquiry form. That way, everyone on this call and on future calls, you guys can always go to this Facebook post, click on the link. If you are not part of the Facebook group, if you're listening to this on YouTube or on Spotify, what's the email, Kelly, that they can email you on?
Support. I'm going to post it in here if you don't mind dropping it in the comments also.
Yes,
At
sir.
apolloenergycompany.com. There's the email. You can always email us there, dealer support. We'll take care of you. Also, if you're a sales guy, man, and you're not happy with where you're at because your company doesn't give you leads, we actually got a bunch of people from SunPower who just came over because their company doesn't give them any more leads. So if you're not happy with where you're at, you can email careers@apolloenergycompany.com. We are hiring marketing and sales reps. Even our marketing guys, man. Our marketing guys are making a killing. You know, we have marketing guys making $2,000, $2,500 a week working for us.
These are the canvassers, the lead generators, or
cold calling, man. They're working
calling
from their living room, dude. They don't even, we do remote cold calling. They don't leave their living room. Cost them nothing but an internet connection and a headset. And you can get a headset at Walmart.
Too.
Yeah, they're a lot of
those
fun.
who are interested in doing that, like what does that look like?
No sales or solar experience required. Literally, we will teach anybody how to do marketing. So you just have to have willingness to learn. It's a great entry-level sales role. So we don't require any kind of experience. We will teach you how to grind. So we will teach you how to do cold call. We will teach you how to book appointments. And then, we will build up a big funnel for your organization. So
in fact, we just had one of the top marketers came to sales, and now he just sold, like, Kelly, 3 deals in 3 days.
3 deals in 2 days, 3 deals in 3 days. So it's a great pipeline for salespeople too, right? So we get them cold calling. They learn solar. They learn like basic principles of sales, like in booking an appointment. It's just like it is still sales skills, right? That you need in order to blast cold calls, deal with rejection, get a yes, book the appointment, like scrub your lead, make sure it's a good appointment. We pay on a per demo basis. So if their leads, if they're setting bullshit, they're not going to get paid, right? They have to have solid appointments that can go where a sales guy can go out and do a demonstration, right? Because that's how they make their money. So, and you guys can do the math on that. Like if I do 4 demonstrations, I will close 1 deal, right? So then you can pay $300, $400 a demo or whatever it is that you're comfortable paying your guys and a manager to give them an override or whatever.
Mitchell
know.
says, we will turn you into a telephone terrorist.
That's Mitchell,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But Carlos, he's
Andrew,
not
yeah.
kidding. They will train you from the ground up. They will devote all of their time to make you successful. That's what Mitchell and his whole team does.
Yeah, Mitchell runs our call center, right? So shout out to Mitchell. He's
Yep,
a
big shout out to
monster
Mitchell.
on the phones.
shout out to the telephone terrorists.
Monster Mitchell. Yeah. Telephone terror squad. They're doing 200,000 phone calls a day.
Wow.
Like, freaking nuking your state with solicitation calls for it to go solar. So but it works, man. We set a ton of appointments, but you deal with rejection. And like one of our guys, he was one of our top marketers for a while. We brought on more talent, transitioned him out into virtual sales, and now he's just closing a ton of deals from his apartment in Texas.
Wow.
Right. So he's got
Incredible,
3 sales and three sales in 3 days or something like that. I thought it was 2 days,
Yeah.
whatever it was, 3 days.
He closed the deal on Sunday too.
Oh, there you go. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Ripped off 3 deals.
But here's the other thing though. Not only do they set leads in Mitchell's department, but our sales team has their full support. Like for example, if you have an appointment set for you at 2 o'clock and they're not answering you, Mitchell and his team will blow them up to get a hold of them for you.
Oh,
So
really?
we have a whole
Wow.
dispatch. Oh yeah, we have a whole dispatch chat. Each of our reps get it's a beautiful thing. Those guys are killers, man.
Yeah, man. If you book an appointment with us and you don't answer the sales rep when he's trying to get in touch with you, you are going to get 50 phone calls.
Well, sounds like the machine is created now. We just need more people to be fed into the machine. So you guys have done a lot of work putting that machine together. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
It
this
takes a
is,
team, Carlos. It takes a team, brother.
What's that?
It takes a team, right? We have a great team, man.
100%. Travis Carter says, great info, guys. Travis, we're looking forward to chatting to you as well. But this has been an incredible episode. It's been a pleasure. It's been 4 episodes that we've had in the last month, which has been super cool. Anyone who wants to join the incubator or wants more information, go to, what was it? Dealer support. Just remind me on that
Dealer
one.
support.
Dealer support at.
Oh, you have this chat in here? Yeah. Post this email in there at apolloenergycompany.com.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Dealer support at apolloenergy.com. And there's also a form here that you guys can fill in as well. Kelly, Michael, it's been awesome. Anyone who wants to contact you, once again, hit the forms, and looking forward to continue jamming.
Forms. Yeah. Send me a
Thanks, Carlos.
message on Facebook. That's all I use Facebook for now, solar networking.
Love it. Hey, and also, where do they find you on social media? I know, Michael, you don't have Facebook, but Kelly, where do they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media. I mean, I just made an Instagram like 2 days ago. So you can find me on Instagram. You can also message our company's Facebook page or Instagram page. That'll get back to me too. So it's Apollo Energy Company, Facebook or Instagram page. Yeah, we're making a Pinterest this week. We're going to start blowing up our social media presence. That's something that we just started focusing on this past month. So you're going to be able, if you're watching this in a couple months or 6 months from now or whatever, you're going to see us on Pinterest, TikTok, all that kind of good stuff soon enough. So,
And don't worry, Carlos. My wife has Facebook and Instagram. She takes care of all that for me.
yeah.
We're going to see Kelly dancing on TikTok.
Yeah, soon enough.
Hey, he's
Yeah, I
doing
do.
pull-ups right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I was doing pull-ups in a home gym because I was telling people to go independent, right? You don't need a gym because of COVID. I built a gym in my house. So now another way that you can be independent is by getting a battery with your solar system. So
Well, hopefully they don't bring COVID back. I've heard news stories and stuff. I've been seeing it that they're trying to bring it back, but we've got virtual.
Hey,
now.
solar survived COVID, Carlos. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Awesome, guys. Guys, it's been incredible jamming with you, and see you guys next
it's been
time.
great. Have
Thanks,
a great
everybody.
night, Carlos.
Thanks, Carlos.
Talk to you soon. See ya.
See you guys later. Bye.